it's about 11:30, about time to start. I have a lot of content to present, so bear with me a little bit if it might be 1 or 2 minutes over. Afterwards it's lunch, so I hope that'll be okay. I want to welcome everybody to my talk, iOS and IT. Don't let your toaster bring down the internet. This is not the Game of Thrones showing, if you intended to watch that and you're a few days too late. But it's the Game of Phones showing. You basically have your phone that's controlling your IoT devices. And I want to ask the audience, who in the audience worked or is currently working with IoT devices? A few hands, that's nice. Who of you that works with IoT devices believes that one of their devices could be used for bad purposes or could be intercepted in between and have some crazy value spent off? Anyone? Okay, 2, 3. That's actually what I'm talking about today. We're going to talk a little bit about the dangers of IoT. We're going to talk a little bit about what you can do to make this better. And I'm going to show you some scary cases. Alongside my presentation, there's a GitHub repository that I mentioned, that we're going to mention several times in the talk. That repository holds basically all the resources I've been using for this talk, and has I encourage every one of you to contribute back to this repository, so we can make it all a better place for resources and to find like stuff on the IoT network. My name is Florian Harr. I've been working since 2010 with IoT devices. Back then we didn't really call it IoT devices. It was basically a car-connected, Bluetooth-connected car charger. I've been working in the past 3 years to build an iOS client and the IoT backend for HVAC and water heaters. And it's pretty scary to me to see how these things evolve and how often technologies are chosen the wrong way. So, to give you a little motivation why I'm holding this talk, I want to show you the population, the US population, the world population, and today's amount of IoT devices. The US population is about 324,700,000 people. If we put that in context to the world's population, which is about 7.5 billion people, that's not too much in comparison. We don't even reach the first part of the US population. And if we see that we already have, on average, more than one device per person on this planet, there are a lot of regions that don't even have internet yet. It's pretty scary to me, and especially as we see when we look at the chart for 2020, and these are the most conservative numbers I could find from Gartner. There will be more than 21 million devices by the time, which means there will be more than 3 devices per person. And again, this is only 2 years in the future. So by then we would have to have an exponential growth that is just crazy over the bar. But to put this even a little bit more into context, if we look at the estimation that is not even 10 years ahead of us, the growth that IoT devices will have are immense. And if we think about, again, that there's remote places, I can only stress this more than enough. The US is the most consumer-loving market. There will be between 30 and 50 devices in every one of our households, in each one of our households. Pretty crazy in my opinion. Especially if we put this a little bit into context of the population since 1500 till today, and we put in the first computer, or basically the first thing that we could call computer potentially, the SUSE C1, the Xerox Alto, the iPhone 1, and the first IoT devices in 2016. If we look at the Conrad SUSE C1 that was built between 1936 and 1938, it's currently in the German Museum in Munich for display. That was way back. And just over 35 years later, we had the Xerox Alto, which is known as the first workstation. It was ahead of its time by more than 10 years with the first graphical user interface. It was basically the first workstation, and there's a big connection between Apple and the Xerox Alto, as most of us know. Now, if we look at the iPhone 1, that was introduced in 2007, and if we look at that till today, there were 1.2 billion units sold in 10 years. And if we remember the growth that IoT devices will have to do to actually catch up with that, it would be, again, way more than exponential to that. Especially in 10 years, 1.2 billion devices. And we have a bigger growth than that in 3 years predicted for IoT devices. So 2016 was the year that was titled to be the IoT year. There were so many IoT devices released, everybody at least read several times IoT in some newspaper. And in the beginning of 2016, there was this poster from Griffin released that it's the first internet-connected smart toaster. It could tell you when your toast was done, which is probably a really helpful information if you put in your toast and left your house. But apart from that, there's not too much like that an internet-connected toaster had to be. But again, 2016, it was the year of IoT devices. Everybody bought some IoT devices at one point, and if we think about it, this was released in January 2016. It only took 9 months to bring down the internet in October 2016 on most of the East Coast. Does anybody in the room remember in October 2016 what happened? Like which sites were down and what actually happened? So to give you some background to that, in October 21st, 2016, most of the internet on the East Coast, Reddit, Amazon, a lot of big pages that were mostly hosted with the DIN DNS server were brought down by smart toasters, connected video cameras, and these kind of like IoT devices. So it took 9 months. We're not even at the growth rate there to bring down the internet. So I was thinking, what would happen if we actually see the growth that was predicted over time, and what will happen to these toasters? And this made me question if we already have a smart toaster in 2016, will it be a smart toaster in 2020? And do I have to be afraid that this toaster will actually cause the apocalypse? And looking that up on the internet, which was the main motivation for me in this talk, there seems to be a number of experts that agree with me. There seems to be a whole community talking about a toast apocalypse. So I was thinking, what could we do to avoid that, and what can we as iOS developers, what can I teach you today, or what can I give you today to stop that? We're going to talk about 3 parts of the equation. We're going to talk about the iOS security. Because with most of the IoT devices you can control with the iPhone, so the iPhone is really the king on the front here that's controlling all the IoT devices around. But this equation wouldn't be complete if we wouldn't be talking about this guy's security and data security. So let's start with the main part. We've heard a talk from Rob here earlier yesterday about iOS security. And he said this one thing yeah, security is complex. And most of the time when we start talking about security in iOS, it's like this book with 7 seals that nobody wants to touch, or yeah, I will spend one iteration at the end of the development cycle to look into security. And I hear this too often, and that's really bad, but security is so complex, but it doesn't have to be. If we look at the source code from the Mirai botnet that brought down the internet in October last year, who in the room hands up thinks that they can write something like this in C code within, let's say, a day? Benedict, that's good? Already one? I'll tell you it's not hard. I've been looking over the source code. It's not really hard to write, and there's not really any complex stuff in there. But I'm pretty sure if we look a little bit deeper on the same source code, anyone in this room, everyone can write this source code. It is ridiculous. If we look at what actually Mirai was the botnet that was used to bring down the DNS server. And if you look at stuff like add password here, add auth entry, it is ridiculously easy to avoid in the future having these attacks from botnets like that. Because all that Mirai was doing in October last year was to test the internet, was basically scanning the internet IP addresses on port 23 to see if the telnet port is open, and was testing a number of standard default passwords. So security doesn't have to be that complex. If you want to go up in the higher regions of security, yes, it's going to be complex. But if a few of these developers and manufacturers of IoT devices wouldn't have had these standard passwords, we would have all been fine last year in October. So let's talk a little bit about iOS security. I do believe iOS security, and especially client security, is more important than ever. After all, these are the devices that send off the data to servers if you connect locally to these devices. So I want to bring up a few examples. Does anybody know FOSCAM? FOSCAM security cameras, nice. I have 2 at home as well, and I regularly use them, and I like the product a lot, but if we start Googling about FOSCAMs, there's this nice article on Schneider and security. He's talking about FOSCAM security camera. Pretty scary in my opinion, but I think about it, there's these 2 security cameras at home, and there's a potential eavesdropping all over the Does anybody know the company Xiaomi? It's basically Apple of China. They produce everything from the most popular fitness tracker to a pen to Android phones. They're really, really popular, and their fitness tracker is sold more than the Apple Watch and most of the Android watches combined. But if we look again at Google, it's Xiaomi personal data, stealing personal data, collecting personal data, sending personal data. Personally, pretty scary if you think about it. They sold the cheapest and also one of the really complex devices with the fitness tracker for a fraction of what the Apple Watch costs, that sends off all the data. And again, you're connected with Bluetooth to the fitness tracker, which also means your iPhone is going to send off these data. So if the iOS security isn't good enough, your data is gone. My last example, I'm going to start a little bit different. Does anybody know this logo? I actually don't expect hands, and that's fine. Because that's WeVibe, a wireless Bluetooth connected vibrator that currently, if you own one, you shouldn't take part in the lawsuit because you get back about 3 times the amount what you paid for the vibrator. Because they have been sending off all your vibrator patterns that you were putting in with your iPhone to their servers, and basically had this humongous amount of data, a huge amount of data on your patterns that you were using with that. And that's pretty scary to me if you think about it. You're buying this product and you have a pattern that's being sent off with all your personal data. And there's currently a privacy lawsuit going on, class action lawsuit. These are the first things you find. Pretty scary to me. So I was thinking of what can I give you guys to, these are all cases that other people shown up, other people disclosed and put on the internet. So I was thinking of what can I do to show you good other examples. So I've been looking at Nest, Ecobee, and Xiaomi devices. I have basically used the Charles man-in-the-middle proxy to intercept the JSON traffic that I'm getting in. And I've been doing a test case basically where you go to the Nest thermostat or the Ecobee thermostat, I'm changing temperature, I'm going back in to confirm the temperature, going back out, and I'm looking at how many JSON requests are being sent off and what data is being sent off. Because, that had to be how other people come to your programs or how data is sent off. So for Nest, we already see in this example, it's JSON root running through. There's a few articles being made. If you want to look at who this rows that you got calls being made, it's pretty ridiculous to me thinking about that there's 25 API calls needed, from which are 7 analytics related to just set a temperature on one thermostat. So if you're in your bed on Sunday morning, you're like, it's a little bit too warm, let's put the AC a little down. There's 25 API calls needed, and there's 7 of them, which are just analytical data around how you're using it. Pretty scary to think about that. Another thing that's pretty funny is because I've been using the house proxy to intercept the JSON stream, the API automatically dropped from version 6 to version 5 after I've been holding off the requests a little bit. So that's pretty funny to me because the static case where you, in NSA, we're dropping your 3G signal to intercept your stuff better, to match it. Yeah. Another case that most people don't think about is there's no local communication between your Mac and your iPhone at the time when the internet is down. And while this might be an edge case for most of us, our case that we can, our edge case that we can look over, for the project that I've been working on, there has been a lot of people with disabilities, blind people that were relying on their iPhone helping them to set their AC thermostat because they had no other chance to set their AC thermostat. So there was also no local communication, which is bad for if you're on the internet or if you're internet availability. The nice thing is between their Nest thermostat and their servers, between your iPhone using the Open Direct Communication Protocol. It's an open source software that's done on GitHub, which is pretty nice for us because you can look into the actual source. Again, I did the same thing with Ecobee. I have an Ecobee thermostat at home, and I'm just going into the same exact demo again. We look at the current temperature volume. We're going to set it down a little bit to 24 degrees Celsius. You see the API unit. You put it back out, and very quickly the temperature has changed. Be sure that it's all across and you can sell anything or stop anything. And again, if we look at these calls, it's pretty interesting to me. There's still 98 calls made, but there's only 4 of them analytical. And one thing that caught my eye immediately was that you're only getting basically one API. Here you have Fresh Analytics twice, and we have hired down to just the Ecobee API. What's interesting about it is if that would be a web application where we would have to look at security feature, that would actually work. While Nest wouldn't work because Nest has so many different ports that they're hitting that the course header would be an issue for us. If you look at local, if you look again at the Ecobee terms, that there's no real local communication. That's except if you're using HomeKit and you actually have like an Apple TV or something like that and you're simulating HomeKit, that's a different scenario. Just from what Ecobee is delivering, there's no local communication. They use proprietary communication protocol. That's not open source, so you've got to trust Ecobee there. I would rather call this a bad thing because you can't open source these kind of protocols. And then last, I was doing the same demonstration for Xiaomi. And this is basically the disco of Java proxy. If you can look at the left side how many APIs connected in a small amount of time, just to sync up with our Java pair water status kind of thing. It is ridiculous how many API calls they're doing. And the best thing about that demo really is you can see in a second that all of the data is on this device that physically was powerful. It's all being uploaded to Xiaomi server. For no real purpose, because I can't even look at the device if I'm not locally connected to it. So they could potentially store all the data on your iPhone and do it. That's pretty bad. And there's 34 API calls for these small kind of like actions that I'm doing here, of which 50% contains analytics. Looking at that, there's all kinds of data set logs that have no real quality to them, and that don't have any immunity or the whole data blocks are getting uploaded. If you look at the file here, it's all getting uploaded to their servers, and again, once I'm not connected to it anymore, I can't access my data. They use software logs. So once you connect to their servers, they're basically checking your IP addresses and that's from where you're from, like which country you're from. And a few of these devices, they are usually which country they're from. Some of these devices are blocked for use outside of China, or some of these devices actually have iPhones that you can't access certain features. You don't have a lot of Chinese IP addresses. I guess you can imagine there's basically no, like, they have hundreds of devices, and they're the leader in the IoT market right now. But basically, each one of the devices has their own proprietary protocol. So there's no commonality there because they just output it so much. To make things a little bit more ridiculous, I want to show you like another example of like iOS 9 security, right? So it's important because for a few small things you can already do so much. A few clients that I had like a promotion from Delta to be TSA free. And comparing it to my version, we didn't have TSA free at the time of the promotion. I was looking at the JSON streams that I got. What I found out was it's basically TSA free. It's only a boolean like a JSON stream that's basic. And so I wanted to show you guys and actually show you this feature for myself. From one of my examples where I could show you how you can rewrite like the boolean flag that I mentioned. And he is a free result basically. But putting that in Google, I found this guy that wrote an article in 2013 that called Sky Priority as a result. Because apparently he is a free and Sky Priority work the same way. It's only one flag. And one thing about it is there's basically no revulsion technique. When I checked it in the lab, I went to the TSA Brigade and basically I'm official with TSA right now, so I've been rewriting all that. And did some legal actions. Not here. But there was no remotivation. People at the airport were basically looking at my boarding pass. They saw the TSA free sign to respond to them. And if we look at the official guidelines for the TSA free application, there's as a boarding pass, the only document TSA security bodies will accept to prove this status. Which means you only have to change a boolean body of JSON stream if you get it. That's pretty easy. And the other thing is, if you apply for TSA free under Matthew, but when a Delta profile set up under Matt, you'll need to update your name and your Delta profile in order to re-up the benefits of the recheck. I don't think I need to do this. I only need to rewrite a boolean flag. That's pretty ridiculous. So what can we do on iOS security to make things better? One of the things that also was mentioned in the iOS security or data security talk is transfer layer protection. There would have been a certificate of public key pinning, like for example Crashlytics did, where you saw that the chart crossing was reporting a red cross. I would have had a way harder time 50 seconds. This is the exact case for Delta that I don't understand. This guy has been disclosing this issue he felt on his priority result 2013 with Delta, and it's still refused by 2017. There's really no point in why you shouldn't be doing the certificate of public key pinning. The Xiaomi data or the Xiaomi application, they're using core data access for your credentials and your account. That's not really the case what you should be using to store your account. There's the iOS keychain for that. Even that, if you really don't want to use the iOS keychain, you should probably encrypt your core data. Provide local discovery and communication. It's one of the things we don't think about, but like, because we live in America where there's like basically internet 99% of the time. If there are some remote areas or even not remote areas, I'm originally from Germany. I know how internet outages happen like once a month and you're down for several hours. So provide local discovery, there's no reason why you shouldn't do that. And even if you do it for a third party like Ecobee. In more requests, use provided APIs and technologies. I didn't mention it exactly, but with the Sky Prioritize result, if the guy there or Delta would have had like the web service URL update for their passbook pass, it would have automatically updated and taken away Sky Priority. Set friendly defaults. We're going to come to that point later again, but there's so many times where you automatically sign up for a newsletter or you automatically sign up for data, don't do that. You're going to lose more than you're going to gain. These email addresses are not worth it. Here's the OWASP iOS policy that I'm using for looking out on what kind of security measures you can take. And I've also posted that application on the repository that has some good tips on what you can do for iOS. Now let's talk a little bit about IoT device security. Client security is not everything, and most of the time it's being put on the IoT device, actually being the vulnerability. So let's talk about that. I've been thinking for the next few slides a long time what I can teach you guys or show you guys that we actually have some benefit in what I'm talking about. And I was thinking like these are software developers, and this is really a hardware problem, and so teaching you guys to be hardware developers would be too much for this talk. So we're going to do this a little bit differently. I'm going to rather show you an example that's really good for an IoT device and how you did it, and from there you can look it down up. So the IoT product I'm looking for is based on the standards. It uses syncing between devices, between their own devices, and CoAP constrained application protocol for the communication with any kind of like receiver or It has local only remote, so it only works locally. You would buy the hub additionally to your light bulbs. It integrates with other systems, which is pretty nice because you can integrate it with like existing systems like Home Assistant, which is an IoT server basically. It works out of the box. If you're buying basically a light bulb with a remote, and it's already coupled, and everything else from there works out of the box again because you use the right open standard for that. And it sets friendly user defaults. Does anybody know which kind of like company I'm talking about creating this kind of IoT solution? It's IKEA. Their main specific branch is normally furniture. They normally like their furniture, but they knew that they're not a cloud company, and they knew they're not an IT company. But they wanted to hop on the bandwagon of IT stuff, so they created IKEA Traffic, which is basically Swedish for wire-free. And they have this great system that works with this team. They basically currently have a IoT light bulb. Then they get it remote, and that's the standard stuff we buy. So to get IKEA, you can buy for like 12 bucks. Their IoT light bulb that's paired already from the remote. If you wanted to have like remote control with the iPhone, you would be buying their box. And it's one of the other things that I like about the ERP system a lot. It's wired. You don't have like another company somewhere else and have like another vulnerability because it has its own Wi-Fi signal. So it's wired and future-proof connected to your root router. For any kind of communication that you do in your local network, you have the app, which uses CoAP constrained application protocol with lightweight machine-to-machine as a protocol. So they're not going down to the JSON REST API, and they're not going down to get the hassle of like actually syncing status like 100 times with 100,000 JSON API requests, but it uses a real like open standard protocol because they don't have the manpower to like in the door get their own communication protocol out and do all kinds of stuff. They would rather rely on the industry standards that have been out there for a while. So that's a pretty nice thing. And if we look at that, like it's currently only local network only. They have the ability to do software updates, but there's not a real like an integration for remote control. Because I'm also asking myself with a lot of these IoT devices, why would I need to turn on the light in my apartment while in bedroom? Other than to mess with my girlfriend, there's no real reason to right now. And so one of these things that they're currently doing is they integrate with HomeKit and the Home Assistant. It was discussed here like a week back. They publicly announced that they were coming in the fall. And that's another nice thing, because you integrate your local solution with HomeKit, with a system that Apple gives you, with a third-party integration of Home Assistant, without actually like opening up another attack vector to your local network. So they apply more manpower and better platform to integrate. They wouldn't have to maintain security patch there that just want to attack all the time. To summarize up the IoT security part, there's the Product and Internet Advisory Group that brought out the IoT security and privacy recommendations. It's a 42-page long guideline. I don't actually suggest you to write all 42 pages, but there's like a nice summary and you the topics at the beginning. That's totally worth reading. Even for our software developers, it makes a lot of sense. The Open Connectivity Foundation is another great resource for reading up guidelines on IoT devices and IoT security. The Linux Foundation, I've created the IoT project and connect with the Open Connectivity Foundation. All great resources. OWASP has a nice IoT project. And for real papers, there was recently the Department of Homeland Security IoT principles released. I advise you caution. There's some really awkward things in there that don't make too much sense. So be careful about that. And all of that, again, can be found in the GitHub repository that goes alongside of this talk. One of the things that I want to convey, and if you can get all the stuff I was talking about before, is we are in the wild, wild west of technologies when it comes to IoT. I hear so often MQTT is the thing that everybody has to go to. No, it's not. MQTT is one of many technologies in the IoT stack, and we're going to see that all of these IoT technologies will eventually get technologies will go down to a few options. And that's because we're currently in the wild west. Everybody is pushing out like backend systems, everybody is pushing out these technologies. You connect your RE and control the lines. These are not necessarily the best options. There's not one technology to fits all. And that's also why I don't recommend you, why I don't stream out MQTTs to the technology you're using. With the IP advisory system that I've showed you guys, I wanted to show you one example that isn't using MQTT, which also should show you that there's like more than that than just blindly following passwords. To my last part of the equation of data security. This talk wouldn't be complete if we wouldn't be talking about data security. This is always like data security background. And if we look at this binary number, is there anyone in the audience that can tell me what this binary number is certain conditions in roughly approximately? Anyone? It's a Raspberry Pi Zero for the Wi-Fi. No? So this number equals to 7.5 billion. I talked about this earlier. It's the number of people behind the planet. And if we look at the amount of space this number contains, it's 200 to the power of 33. What I want to convey and want to show is like if we went through the questionnaire, everybody on this planet, every person on this planet, and everybody would distinctively answer these 33 questions differently. These are just binary questions, yes and no questions. You could give everybody like a unique identifier. And that's pretty scary for me when we think about the vibrator patterns again, or if we think about the other patterns and all the other data that's interacting with this. It's pretty easy to give like century questions out and like unique identify one person. So does anybody remember Carrier IQ 2011? Nobody? Area, okay, one person. Area IQ, the previous test is like 141 million, 141,279, 141,279,565 million devices have been affected by Carry IQ. Carry IQ was this big reveal in 2011 that, and most Android devices out there at the time had Carry IQ rootkits on there. We're tracking down everything in the last keystroke. When Google was confronted with that, it was basically like, yeah, like a few carriers basically demanded us like this software, and they're to make better decisions for you guys on your carrier choices. I call that evolution. Because really what they were doing, we were like trying to find out the usage patterns to increase usability of how many people already know it, or without actually like you ever having a say in that. And at the time, I had iOS 5 and iOS 5 release in 2011. It was already taken off of Apple code. Apple never made the full set created the full choice for you to sign up for carrier, which is coming back to my point of tracking defaults. Set tracking defaults because it's not nice to track down 141 billion devices. Does anybody know what this relates to? Yeah, Azure Medicine, right. So there was no big Azure Medicine, like data security. We're talking about data security. I could have signed up anybody in this audience to Azure Medicine without you ever having to confirm your email address. Because they did no email confirmation checks. And when you were complaining about it, and you were actually like writing their support to be like, hey, I want to have taken my email down because I'm not actually using your platform, it would have been, we'll do that for money. I can do that for money before you start. But even better than that, like if they were promising you to delete your data, which was bullshit, because you weren't deleting your data, and all the data dumps that happened were released from Azure Medicine, it was more than clear that even people that paid for their data to be removed, of course, deleted it. It was still in the database, and you could still be found even though if you didn't sign up. And even if you were having the spelling error in the email, like if one person if he wanted to sign up and the next time he signed up, there was no way we could get you out of the database then. And that brought down Azure Medicine. Yeah, really, look at the date here. That's been last week, August 9th, not too far away. And gets reported lots of claims using illegally collected data in kids apps, which is pretty scary to me. We didn't have to bear underneath that, like, that's very easy. And I have to prove type to bear for once, because it's not only one element. Looking at the picture, we would be looking at, like, oh yeah, it's the one on one, they want to have like a sequel to that, and they want to like, get it better for the kids, give them more what they like. No, it's 42 apps. If you think about it, 42 apps are when you collect the data from your kids to know what you don't like and to know what you have to produce. That's pretty scary. So what can we do about all of that? We all know currently there's a lot going on in politics with internet history being sold with nothing to between our big states. So keep transfer data to a minimum. You don't need to upload everything that you have from the user. If you upload everything, it might be someone else or someone could take it. You don't look at who's going to take it in a second. Probably not encrypt data. Like last test, for example, they had several times data breaches because there might be potential targets that people want to break into. But they always encrypt the data correctly, and they always encrypt the data super hard for anybody that actually has data dumps to get to your data. Schedule maintenance. Even Samsung SmartSync platform is able to send out like the schedule maintenance from you to read and actually inform you of what changes you're doing. It gives the user kind of some security, but also gives insight to others what's happening. This is those data breaches. More than often you have to teach your users on what to do. So if you have like a disclose data breach, or if you have like a data breach, disclose it, tell your users, and they can change your passwords. And eventually you will, in that time, you actually take it for your hacker to release data. Think like a hacker, try to hack yourself. There's more than enough tools with Kali Linux, for example, available to try and like get breach to your own data. But only if you know how to, other people would think like getting data, you can prevent that from happening. Authentication should be more than a global binary state. Way too often I'm using city access like that intersection to actually say like this one is black, it's true. I have access to all the data that was in the device and access to all the data that was before. Authentication should be really more than binary state. And again, all of this is in the GitHub repository because you don't want this guy to actually steal your data. Especially these days, again, I've mentioned it before, I have utility, and I can buy basically anyone's internet history. While these internet histories might be anonymized, I mean, it takes 33 questions that you've seen to actually identify someone. So, if all of your apps that you're using, they should be collecting more than 33 like data points from you. If you put that all together, there's a good chance of actually identifying the internet history if you want to belongs to it. To come to an end, and to summarize what I've said before, and give you lessons I've learned over the past few years, think like a hacker. It sounds hard, and it sounds like, again, it's a very complex thing. It doesn't have to be. There's so many tutorials out there. Just try to hack yourself for once, or just try to see if you can rewrite the changes that's coming into your app. Look what the app is actually doing, and something about that. Find reads what's there first. WordPress blogs, for example, this is the WP scan. Terminal utility that you can use to scan your WordPress blog for vulnerabilities already. We'll tell you, give you all kinds of catalogs and vulnerabilities that's super easy to do for any of us. So think like a hacker in this room. No industry scan is the state of the technology. Currently there's a lot of this kind of information out there, and this is also why I've created this GitHub repository for iOS and IT resources, where you can look up and contribute back to what are the industry standards and what are the state of the technology. Be aware it's a wild, wild west. Everybody is talking about these buzzwords, and everybody's talking about that. It has to be done, it works that way, and you need to use MQTT because it's the best technology ever, it's secure, you can trade in. Learn from the mistakes of others. We've already seen like the first apocalypse coming down to this. Learn from that by not setting your default password to be admin password or any kind of that derivation. Like, be aware of what the mistakes of others have been. Because what we've seen with the IoT toasters happened 10 years before, and even then it's happened like 15 years before. And we don't have to repeat ourselves over and over again. Another risk assessment techniques like FMEA, where you would actually do a failure or risk assessment before you start using the system. However, it's a mechanical engineer, and machines still people. So will IoT devices at one point, before she starts actually doing any kind of work and partly everything like that, they do it after the end where they actually searching and thinking about what could potentially happen if my market fails. Because at the end of the day, you will be also held accountable for that. At the end of the day, you will be someone that has made the mistake in the chain of events. That's also my next point. Take responsibility for your life cycle. The code technology lasts 3 years. The bridge lasts 17 years. And these things want to be changed. It's unprecedented that any of these devices would last as long. If you put the latest long-term support we put on the smart version you're currently creating, it will be supported for the next 4 years, even by a longer support. 17 years? You haven't seen that. 17 years back, hence it wasn't insurance. And nobody even remembers those guys for you. So, like, take responsibility for the whole life cycle. When you make decisions, think about this life cycle. Years, 7 years, 70 years, and think about like even if your HVAC system will be 20 years and longer. If you're like creating an iOS for that, creating an IoT backend for that, that's the last 17 years eventually. Trust no one. We've heard it again, we've heard it before when we talk about security. Only trust yourself if you have to, but otherwise keep encryption in all environments and all the other. I've seen it so often that tests and staging environments are quite often not as secure as a production environment, but then again, like one of these environments is connected to another database. It's pretty stupid to have all the security on your production environment, but not on your test or staging environment, and you can still access or a hacker or someone that would like to intrude into your systems can go over test or staging and actually get your production data. To summarize all of that in the lessons learned, lead only with research, never lead with buzzwords or any kind of technology because there's a lot of material out there or a lot of resources. Only lead with research, idea delivery, you're talking about an idea to be a good example of what is capable of and what is not capable of. Future-proof software and hardware. Do the legwork on front. Technology specs, FMEA, risk assessment, do all these things up front, but also keep them about it along the way. Choose the right tooling and platform, and there we are with only with research again. Most of these technologies are not complex. You might have to create your own tool and have to choose a platform yourself. Have a backup plan for offline situations. We treat the internet as the thing that's always around, it's always here. It's not. And so also think about edge-based scenarios. And one of the things that I found most surprising most of the time when I was working on these IoT devices, all my clients have been always thinking like, yeah, it works in this web situation. And they've been rolling it out to like 100,000 users to like 1 users. And they're like, no, why are we getting like all these issues, all these bottlenecks? Because the lab is not production. One people doesn't equal the other thing. So it's an experimental thing again. It's more about what to equal to empirical test. And if you don't believe me yet, I've made this screenshot at 11:20. So 10 minutes before the talk started from my university. And those intellects that cannot control exoskeletons. I don't think it needs till 2020 to know this exoskeleton might kill me. But I mean, if you don't believe me, it could be also a toaster that's going to kill you. Be aware of what's good out and be aware that you don't have to make the same mistakes again. These are the talk resources that I've used again. It's the OWASP. It's not that resources for my security matters. There's a great talk about the Internet of Things system as far as called Prime London. He actually agrees with me that those apocalypse will be coming. There's the global security testing guide, and the ones we made by a friend of mine in the summer for this talk. I hope you all will enjoy that talk. If you have any questions, feel free to come to me about it. Otherwise, thank you. Any questions? Wait, one? Yes.
What was the program you were using to record all those transmissions from the apps?
So there's no program you can use on Mac. I'd like to use Charles personally, the first name Charles. The way that the word process works pretty well. Basically, put it in your processing in iOS device. You basically root certificate in iOS device, and you set up all SSL traffic, and that way you can set up then it has a nice rewrite mentions, so you basically want any kind of like request was made by the iPhone, you can rewrite that. It wouldn't work if you would have a certificate thing where you run across my root certificate that replaces my iPhone. Okay.
Do you have any recommendations just as a consumer looking into these products? Like how do you assess if one is good or not? As far as privacy, resources like that?
Yes, a lot of basically kinds of like from server system. It's completely open source within Python, and they do a lot of like every time you want to integrate something about the IC device, basically page, looking at the protocols and using, looking at like project integrate, and giving you some background information. Nice thing about it is it's all they all make recommendations for the cost consumer can sort of something like integrated with the home system, and that way I don't have to use the dot system or anything like that. But if they disable the dot system always locally, then the home system will be the same on entry vector if I decide to open up home system unit. Yes.
The fundamental problem that IoT is faced with security is often done using processing power available. And conversely, the amount of entropy available to set up anything you need with traffic, anything, you need some entropy tomorrow. Is that ongoing, or have you seen, is computing power getting, there was a point at which computing power on IoT devices was using HTTPS. I'm like, I can't do that much math. But is that still a legitimate complaint?
I wouldn't say so. It's really a matter of there's a lot of IT devices that are super stupid. They don't even know about any kind of computing power. Then you run the computing power with your iPhone, and then there's like these three devices like the internet code or the computer looking at it that were released in your iPhone in October 2016. They all had an average 1.2 gigahertz. And there was more than enough computing power to actually like have not default passwords, but to actually have like SSL. But that's not what it's used. But at the same moment, one of the resources that goes into the iOS IT resources repo is like a raw security on how Bitcoin mining is worth with these devices. And he brings out a really good point because we all believe like Bitcoin is so huge if you have like new devices. And he's calculating how many Bitcoins he would have made if he would have run like that by the week. If he would have run Bitcoin mining on all these 2.5 million devices per week, he would have made 25 cents more. Because the shuttle for Bitcoin, for example, is so high, it doesn't make much sense. Even 1.2 gigahertz is so high innovation, it doesn't make sense even when you have like 2.5 million devices. So there's enough to come back to your point, there's enough to really hard to that. So we're working on projects, I've been working on basically part of the project, we were able to have some secure sockets, which is another option to have good traffic. These were really cheapest kind of like devices that we think of.
So, beyond basic security, what sort of security measures do you recommend for discovery and actual data? It seems like, what my one thing to do is run around and discover something.
Yeah, that's definitely a problem. So I like the payment platform that's open to other data companies and the open network. And from there on, they do all the scan service scans and stuff like that, where you can put in devices. And from there on, there's a lot of like open source over there available where you can change stuff to parsing or random effects. Data that's being sent off from your device. And this is basically how you run allows you to participate in one because people would like to have traffic. And even if you wouldn't be going back to the device, this was kind of a cheap solution that you could look at. You can also, if you're looking at what progress, how much do you use something that you think that, if you found open source software for your router that helps you intercept these kind of requests and look at it. Because a simple firewall is already enough to know if you accept these traffic and look at that. Anybody else? Otherwise, please find me afterwards. I'm happy to discuss all kinds of IoT things and iOS things.